Hello, everybody. My name is James, and my project is called Orange HRM Tests. And it's a little bit different than the other projects that have been presented so far today, and I'll get to why that is in just a moment. But first, a little bit about me. I have an Associate of Applied Science degree in Computer and Information Technology, and I was focused primarily on computer programming during that coursework. Most of my work experience has been in retail, but my heart is in tech, so I'm actually really looking forward to getting that first job in tech and making that career transition. Outside of coding, I love to read fantasy and sci-fi novels. I like to draw, and I occasionally mess around with 3D programs like Blender and do some 3D modeling. And quality assurance is the third pathway that I have completed with CodeU. The previous two were web and software development, and I knew nothing about what QA was before I went into this pathway, and it ended up being my favorite. I absolutely loved the whole process. So about the project, my project again is called Orange HRM Tests, and it's different from the others in that the other pathways have you come up with a project idea and build that project yourself. But in quality assurance, we were given a live website, which in this case was a demo of a product called Orange HRM, a full-featured HR management application, and we were given a set of 7 manual test cases and pretty much told, figure out how to automate these tests so that we can speed up the whole process of testing them. And I ended up loving the thing, so I made nearly double the tests required. We had to do 7 and I did 13. And all of our tests were written using C# in the Selenium WebDriver. And I had to approach these using black box and exploratory testing. And what that means is that I had no prior knowledge of this website before we started writing these tests. I didn't have any access to the code, nothing, no design documents, none of that. So I had to approach it essentially from a user standpoint and use my prior knowledge of other applications to figure out how I might be able to write the tests that were required. And I really enjoyed this particular project because it was working on writing tests for a real world application. The site's live, anyone can go look at it at any time, and anyone can also change anything on it at any time. And that presents its own series of challenges because everything is dynamic. You can't code to any specific usernames, you can't go to any kind of specific employee names, nothing, because it may change in the next 5 seconds. And one particular challenge that came up with that is that during testing, I was writing some tests and they were passing, and all of a sudden they weren't. And I was like, what is going on? So I ran them a few times to find out what was happening. Still failed every time. And I went to the website myself to see what was going on. And it ends up that someone had changed the entire site's language to Chinese. I didn't even know you could change the site's language, so that was a bit of a surprise. But once this happened, I ended up having to code in some tests and some checks myself before every test ran. I said, okay, let's find out how to change this language. And whenever you start your tests, go ahead and check to see if the site's in English. If it is, continue with your tests. If not, change the site's language back to English and then proceed with the tests. So let's look at one of these tests. We're going to check and see if we can upload a file. In this case, we're going to upload a picture of a cake, and we'll just have it walk through that process. And it's pretty quick. It's the last time I ran the test, it only took about 12.8 seconds. So let's see if it can do it in that same amount of time this time. So it walks through the whole process of logging in, navigating to the page, uploading the file, checks to see if the file's there, deletes it, and closes the application. And there we have a green check mark, which means that the test passed, so it's all good. We were able to actually upload the file. And here's the code that actually performs what we just saw. The test itself is called canUploadFile. It takes a file name and it takes an expected file type. For us, we did the cake. There was an image or a JPEG. Tests are laid out in an arrange, act, assert format. We arrange the data, so we set up what we're expected to use before the test runs. Here we need an attachment data, we need an attachment card, and we're going to use the current date to compare to later. Then we actually perform the test, so we navigate to the page, we upload the file, we wait until the record count is displayed, so that the record count is the number of actual files that have been uploaded to that user's data, and then we get the attached file data for the file name that we just uploaded. Then the assert phase is where the test actually tests to see if the things we expect to happen are happening. So do we have attachment data and attachment card? Are they not null? Is the attachment data added by our administrator because that's who it logs in as automatically? Is the attachment type what we expected it to be? In this case, it's an image or a JPEG. And is the attachment data's date added equal to the current date? If so, the test passes. We delete the current record that we just uploaded and we continue from there. So what are the benefits of having a quality assurance team or someone like myself on your team? Obviously, better quality products. You're going to have people that are checking to make sure that your products are working as the customers would expect them to and that they're performing well. And having a QA engineers who can automate your tests is going to give you faster feedback, which is going to speed up your development cycles, because when your developers check in changes, targeted tests can be run and you will know within minutes, if not seconds, whether or not anything broke during that change. And last but not least, they can save you a whole lot of money. A defect found in the first stages of a product's development is between 30 and 100 times less expensive than finding and fixing that same bug in production. So we can definitely be something of value to you there. And I know this was a quick overview of everything. If you have any other questions about the project or you want to see any of my other code or the test run, please drop into my breakout room after the class. Thank you very much for coming. All my contact information is on the screen. Thank you very much.